嘿，各位亲观众，大家好！又到早上的时间了。我叫傅凯，今天我们请到我们好朋友，是在亚洲生活在美国。Welcome to our show at Edge Radio, and this is Asian Global Now. I have my special guest here today, Ava.
Hello.
Thanks for coming back to our show.
Of course.
Yeah, last time we talked about the show, about your personal journey and how you decide growing up. And today we want to go a little more specific what you do professionally. 今天要特别讲一下他的服装，就是模特儿公司事情。上次跟他请教他自己私人怎么做到这公司。So tell a little bit about how to decide to get involved with the fashion and how do you end up having a modeling agency?
So I've always been involved in arts and culture for forever, since I was a kid. Coming up, actually working with the, what do you call it, city, did a lot of, let's say, programs with them that involved arts and culture. And from that is where my love for it grew. And I, became involved, in a little bit of acting, in a little bit of everything. Paused for a little bit just because I had to, take care of family affairs.
Right.
And then after that, as time came by, the love for it just kept on coming back to where now I step back in full force. And I would say about 6 or 7 years ago was when I started the journey to now, to where we are now.
Right. 他是说一开始他就对文化艺术上面非常感兴趣，慢慢的话他就找到一部分他特别喜欢做的一些事情，然后他就慢慢觉得这一方面有些缺乏，所以他就决定自己主持这方面的事情，然后也学习这一方面的事情。Yeah. So did you work with anyone else, learn about how this model agency, or you just study online? How did you learn about it?
I learned about it by, back in the day. I'm not going to date myself, but when I first started, I dabbled a bit in modeling. I dabbled a bit in acting. When we had the film commission that was really strong here in Houston, did some stuff in Austin as well. And so from those productions, from those connections that I had, that's where I actually started learning, the ins and outs of everything. Yeah. And then of course I'm originally from the Northeast, which, all of that is there all the time.
Yeah, 他早期生活就在中西部。他上次我们跟他访问过，他旅游在全世界，长大的时候是军人家庭，所以呢到过很多不同的国家。在这里的话，6、7年前他就决定赶这方面，因为去休斯顿有很好的就是拍电影的一些事业，所以他就开始准备跟他们学习。他自己也演过一些演员里面这一方面的小角色，慢慢就非常的感兴趣。他就决定，也许这也是他比较喜欢跟重视的。所以他就开始注意这方面的事情，慢慢就学习到今天，成为一个理想的事业。So when you first started, because a woman in business usually you gotta face up, big agency and men dominating most industrial today. So what was that like for you?
Well, I'll say this: in the entertainment business, it's always tough, right? But I already had grown accustomed to that for the years that I had stepped out, because my background is finance. So I've always been, and there's no nice way of putting everything or anything. So they cut straight to the point. And I've heard all kinds of different things.
Yes.
I'm not going to dwell on that, and I'm not going to go into that now. But the point of that is that all of that helped me become stronger to when I stepped back into this role.
Right.
It was just go, and there was no issue.
他说从一开始他本身就是学经济、商业这一方面，所以他已经遇到说很多这种比较男人主动化的社会经营的话，多半是男人就是比较做主的事业，所以他是个女性的职业妇女的话就比较有些困难，但他已经习惯了，因为他一开始大学毕业做了很多事情，就已经了解这环境是什么样子，所以当他转入这个娱乐界的话，他心里已经有很好的准备了，所以那是也是很重要的这一点，在创业方面的话就比较方便。Yeah, well, so that's good. So when you first started, how many agencies you have in Houston? Do you facing any other agency to challenge you because they are bigger or they're known? What was like for you?
I'll say this in regards to the other agencies. I don't really like to, make any type of negative comments on any of them, because at the end of the day, they're doing what it is that they feel is best for their company.
Okay.
It might be a little bit different in regards to how it is.
I was saying everybody a little bit different.
Yeah, we do it. But in terms of there's two that have been, here for the long term, and we know who those two are, right? And but I've heard all kinds of things. My response to everyone is like, kudos to them. Good for them. I applaud them because in the end, the more the merrier, right? But we are going to do, and the way that we approach things is just a little bit different.
OK， well， 我说在修正的话，也有几家其他的，就是说模特儿公司训练人才的，因为他们的名声都比较大，所以对他来讲是有什么样的挑战？他说的话，每一个的公司做法都有点不太一样，所以他的做法也有一种新的改进的做法，所以大家各自不同的方法去吸收人跟训练。所以的话，大家给我解说它是怎么样子的不同。So what's the difference between yours and the other guys?
So I would say that one of the biggest difference is going to be that for us, the way that we approach it is we really hone in on what the talent is looking for to see if it's something that we can really hone in on them, right? And then the other thing is finding the talent that understands that in this industry, especially now, it's you have to take control of what it is that you're doing. So in other words, there's no cookie cutter. There's no just feeding everything to you, right? It's if you really want to grow, you have to take ownership as well. We're here to help you. We're here to be able to bring you those opportunities and to get you on your path. But it's not just I'm going to sit here and wait and have everything happen. It's not like that with us.
That's a good point. 他是跟大家说，假如你现在要做这方面的服装设计，还有做模特这一方面的工作的话，要自己要做一些准备，不是好像人家告诉你就做什么，自己要学习这种非常挑战性的东西是非常刺激的。但是的话，他在这里帮助你，或者是 assist you, helping you, guide you， 所以这一方面你要自己去。要配合他们所有的计划，等一下我们更仔细的了解一下这些什么样子的做法，好跟他们配合，因为这方面是蛮复杂。So it's quite a complex. So we're going to get into that little by little.
Okay.
Yeah. So well, today we have a whole hour to talk about.
Okay.
So tell us the name of your agency again, because we didn't mention that earlier.
Of course. So the name of the agency is Revolution Management. And I'll spell it real quick because I know a lot of people say, oh, it's a little bit different. It is. It's REV as in Victor, ALUSHION, Management. And you can find us on all the social media outlets out there.
他刚刚的 Revolution 是他的公司名字，你在面书上面网上就可以找到它，上面他给你写的非常的仔细。I saw lots of very beautiful picture on your site. Those pictures, of course, doesn't come easily, right?
Oh no, not at all. No.
Yeah, 他的网络上有很多很漂亮的照片。我跟他说，看起来很漂亮，这些照片就是花了很多的时间去拍摄的。Yeah, so mostly are you based out of Houston, right?
Based out of Houston, yes.
I know you go to New York Fashion Week. Did you ever go to LA or Chicago?
We have gone. Well, no. Let me say this: we've had our talent go to LA. Most recently, right before the lockdown happened, we actually went to Paris as well, and we were slated to go to Milan. But as we all know, last year was just a wash.
Right. OK， 他跟大家观众说，我问他们最近那个模特有到别的城市，除了在休整以外，去参加各种不同的时装表演。他说有去过洛杉矶。也去过巴黎，不错去过巴黎很好的，准备要去米兰的，但是也有这个正好 COVID-19 就暂时性的停下来了，所以大家不要走开，我们等一下继续访问他。Well, don't go, we're going to come back for more. Revolution Agency tell us more. Thank you, Ava. We'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little break.
Thank you.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
亲爱的观众，我们今天又回到我们的节目了。接下来我们要再继续访问我们 Ava 小姐，这位女士跟我们讲她 Revolution 她的服装模特公司的事情。也在休顿的话，因为现在我们有各种不同的活动很多，不像以前休顿慢慢成为一个大城市，所以的话，像服装界、服装比赛越来越多。I will tell everybody as we Houston grows, we got a much more entertainment business. We have lots of fashion show happening here, and so the demanding for model is being increased. So tell us first the process. How did you set up your audition base? Last time we talked about today, we're like go fresh some viewer, never seen it before. 大家没看过他是怎么样开始选择模特的。So how did you audition or select a model? If I'm a model or I want to be a model, how I get into your agency?
So what we tell everyone if they're interested in joining us is the best way to do it is just go through our website.
Okay.
So when you go through the website, you upload your pictures, and they don't need to be professional. They could just be from your phone as long as it's a clear picture.
I see.
A headshot, hardly no makeup, just as they are, and then a full body shot with their measurements. And then they sent that information in with their contact information. And then if it's a look that we're needing or that we're hearing from the other agencies that they're needing, the bigger agencies that we partner with, then we go ahead and invite them. And for those that don't get invited, or that we don't follow up with them, what we always tell them is not to take it personally. It's not anything personal. It's that maybe their look at this time doesn't work, but they could reapply, and in the future it could be a possibility.
他说最简单的方法能够参加就是先到他们的网站上面去把你的照片、你的身材的就是说号码，腰身啊写下来号码发给他们。他看到照片并不需要很特别好的这些照片，最主要是不要化妆太浓，女孩子，或者是不要看起来跟你本人差别太大。他看了之后，假如这个照片上面的这种形象是他现在正好需要的，他会联络你，然后进来跟你谈话，然后的话跟你合作，看你要不要经过训练啊，或者其他的准备工作。假如暂时他没有选中你的话，并不表示你的样子不是他们的水准如何，主要是在现在的市场的需求也许还没有到那个时候，所以要等一等，或者是说到别的公司去也可以去照样去面试，所以它不会有任何的好像分别和感觉，就是非常的自由的做法所以很自然的尽量自然，尽量不要化妆太浓，所以对他来讲的话，简单的照片特别重要。I told everybody, so the photograph don't have too much heavy makeup, right?
No, because
it's
we want to
see
who they are, so that way we can see how it is that they can fit. If it's a look that because once you're made up, it doesn't really work for us. It's hard to tell who it is that you really are.
所以他说化妆太浓的话，就看不出来本人的那种气氛，就是好像我们讲的什么。It's a personality. Yeah, we want more. It's very important, right?
Exactly. And then what we always tell everyone is just to make sure that you guys take care of yourselves. Like we don't look for, the because everyone previously is like, oh, I have to be a size 0, and they're doing all these things that are unnecessary for them. What we always tell them is just be the best version of you. Make sure that you're eating right, that you're working out, that you're taking care of your health regimen, so that way you can be the best you, and then that helps us.
他说他模特儿选择并不照身材，有人身材是0号，好像不吃不喝减肥，所以在这点他说这不是很重要，主要是你自己要健康，做运动，自己的身心都要健康，这样子做这个事情就比较好，比较容易成功。不然的话，一天到晚担心身体的不健康或吃的不正常的话，是一个非常非常难做模特儿的这一方面的事情。说尽量自然，所以他的要求并不一定要像普通的模特儿公司一定要身高多少或者是体重多少，是比较自由化，它主要是看个人的形象，是非常的重要的。Yeah, well that's good. So after you come in, talk to you, sit down, have a conversation. So what's next?
Okay, so obviously before it was sitting down with us to have a conversation with the current pandemic. Like everyone else, we've had to adjust, so now we do virtual meetings.
Okay.
So they could be anywhere, in the U.S. We're looking at expanding internationally as well. But as long
现在在网络上面可以做面试，然后现在慢慢会变成全世界性的。Yeah.
And that's when we set up the meeting, right?
Okay.
Then based on that meeting, we get to find out if, a little bit more about them, if it's a fit for us, and also they can find out if we're a fit for them, because this is a two-way street. It has to work together.
就是两方面，模特儿要找这个好的模特儿公司，是不是配合他们心中所想要跟的要求？所以两面都要配合，不是说我们这边想要怎么样，你们这些模特儿或者想要做模特儿的这些人才也有一些需求。有想法，这些都要配合。So that's good conversation, right?
Yeah, because it helps us, really hone in once again, which is what we look for is what do they really want to do? Because once we're clear on what it is that they want to achieve, then that's when we can see if it's something that we can do or can't do, and then how to be able to maximize and hone in. And that's why we're very selective in the people that we bring in. Because we are still very boutique, but at the same time, the people that we bring on, we want to make sure that we maximize as much as we can with the tools and resources that we have.
Yeah, 他挑选人才非常的严谨，为什么？因为他不要多，他要人才能干，还有能够把自己训练出来，有各种不同的方面都可以配合这市场的需求，所以对他来讲呢是比较重要的。有些模特儿公司很多模特儿。但是往往并不是他所需要是那一型的，所以他来讲的话，训练一个人才，让他们做到100%的效果，才希望他们对这个服装界的话，可以有更多的贡献，而且在自己本人的事业生涯也有很好的发展。不然的话，一个月就一次两次，那当然你就不能成为一个全面性的职业了。Yeah, so I will tell them, you have a less model agency, but you give everybody more job opportunities. Inside some modeling agency have lots of model. Maybe you get one look, one job a month. So you could not really be a full-time model. Yeah.
Correct. Well, yes and no. Here's the thing, because our focus is more of management. Okay. So
well,
so it does say management agency, but we always stress we're more management than we are agency. The reason why it's that way here in the state of Texas, you can do both. Okay? That's the difference. That's one of the difference. And then the second thing is that
you can or you cannot.
You can. Okay. You can. But in our focus is more on the management, because that is what helps us be able to go ahead and work with more people and get them into the positions that we need to get them into.
Very important.
Yes.
就是说一个模特儿公司的话有两种不同的部门，一部分是经营管理，一部分就是专门就是好像你打电话来找人，我把人介绍给你，就是所谓的 agency。另外一方面叫做 management 经营管理。对他来讲的话，经营管理一个模特儿的事业生涯更重要。只是代表一个打电话来找人，我就把这个介绍给你，那就简单。但另外一方面的话，它可以跟这种服装界的这些设计师啊，或者是有更好的关系，所以这样子的话，事业发展的更密切，有更多的机会。而且对这模特儿的本身切身的关系也非常的重要。So you have a better personal relationship with your model.
Yes, definitely. Because once again, our focus is development. management, placement.
Oh.
So we help develop them. We also manage them because we take a look at, being able to direct their career and then also place them into those bigger agencies where they're going to maximize everything it is that we've developed them in.
Yeah, but I went to your show. Your model have a variety in size, a variety in race, and because the market need today is all changed, not like it used to be, right?
Yes, definitely. And now more than ever, that is needed.
Okay.
Because if we're operating in the pandemic the way that we are, people need to feel that they're represented in what it is that they're seeing visually. If they don't see that, then what, like for me, if I don't see more of myself, why am I going to purchase into that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in the end, it's taking a look at it from the business standpoint as well, and making that work with the art, which is always a lovely place, right? It's a happy medium, but it's definitely possible. So once you understand that, diversity is everything. It should have always been everything,
right?
But now we're coming back to where it really, now we're.
Well, 现在我们所谓的这种观众，还有就是我们的好像买衣服的这种商家或者跟客人的话，他现在看法不太一样，不像以前。现在假如说我看到这个服装设计跟我本身没有什么密切的生活关系的话，往往不会买它，因为不像以前好像只是名牌就会买，现在比较重视生活调配配合比较重要。所以他来讲的话，这是非常重要的一个改变，跟以前有点不太一样啊。接下来我就问他一些其他的问题，很重要。So, to you, do you think women spend lots of money on fashion? Does it change for men today?
It has. Okay. So now we're seeing a lot more in terms of the males in their what it is that they're wearing. Also beauty. I know it sounds funny. It's like, what about beauty? No, there is beauty for men. So for the skin, what it is that they're doing for their beard, what it is that they're doing for their hair. So all of that is opening up, right?
I see.
So that's why the men are now coming into the same sphere a little bit more, alongside with the women. But in the end, it's all good because then what does that mean? We're all taking care of ourselves. We're all looking great, right?
Right. 而现在男性对服装设计方面还有化妆品这些形象非常的重要，慢慢增加了。所以的话，叫做最终的话，大家都希望长得看起来好看啊，对事业方面有帮助。也形象是非常重要的一件事情。也所以的话，不光是只是时装，跟形象也很有关系。So I will tell them how you look, besides just being fashion, every day it's being part of it.
Exactly. It's all about, you have to feel good about yourself, right? You have to feel confident in, what it is that you do. And I'm not saying that you have to get full force and couture to be able to feel like that. But it's those little things, for a woman, it might be just some red lipstick. For men, it might be a hat that works for them. For someone that's a little bit older, it might be like, wearing a jogger that makes them feel comfortable, but also fashionable. So it's taking a look at it that way.
或者是现在时装改变了，往往不像以前，当然也许对女孩子只是擦点口红啊，男生也戴个帽子就可以代表他自己的形象，就比较特别。但是慢慢比较重视年轻人跟比较成熟的人，大家都有这种想法，不像以前了，大家喜欢有一点 personality。OK， 我们接下来的话，这一个小小的 break， 我们再回来讲更多的事情。We're going to take our little break. We'll come back talk more about that.
Okay, perfect.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Edge Radio TV is holding auditions for new show hosts. Are you a subject matter expert, professional, influencer, book author, thought leader, or business owner with an educational or motivational platform? Then we want to meet you. Send a link of some of your work to edgeradio20@gmail.com and be sure to put audition in the subject line. Join the Edge Radio TV family. Edge TV, because truth still matters.
The Natural Nation Network is really about taking control of your health physically, spiritually, emotionally, even intellectually, because there's so much out there in misinformation. There's a lot of people now that are suffering from all sorts of diseases that they really wouldn't have to suffer for if they had better information. And that's what we're here to do. Provide information that can save lives.
The mind and the body are totally connected.
Health can be really serious, and sometimes we just have to lighten it up a little bit while we're still providing substantive information.
And my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay,
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Welcome back to Asian Global Now at Edge Radio Network. You can find us on Facebook, and we are broadcasting every Monday from 11 to noon. 大家亲爱的观众，又回到我的节目啦。今天我们讲的是服装模特儿公司的 Revolution， 然后我们是 Avon 的跟我们讲一下他们这个服装模特儿公司怎么样雇佣模特儿，怎么样训练他们，怎么样参加这个为服装界这一方面。我们的节目都说每个礼拜一早上11点到中午大家收看。So we will continue our conversation. So after the model being auditioned, recruited, so some of the model, I'm sure some have no experience at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Some have experience. I say I just want to try different agency. I want to be represented. I have more choices, but I have a little more freedom with choice. So your model agency, can they work in multiple other agencies or have to be exclusively only work for you?
So here's the way that, and that's the good part of being a mother agency, which is what it is that we are. Okay. So the good part of that is that does allow us to be for them to be able to work with other agencies because we're more, once again, management than we are agency. The agency exists simply because of this reason. When people see what it is that we do, they'll approach us automatically and say, hey, can we book your model for this? Am I going to say no to that? Of course not. I'm going to say, go ahead. But the point is not that for us. The point is for us to be able to open that sphere and have them work with different agencies that are on the same level of our vision. And the way that we work in terms of business ethics.
That's much better. 他是跟我问他，你的模特公司所有的模特是不是只有能够代表你公司，不能替别的公司，就是说好像你在这家签了合约，你就不能跟别的地方做其他的模特的事业。他说不是，他是比较属于经营管理型的。每个模特的话，他希望发展他们个人的事业，所以的话，他跟其他的模特公司或其他的服装设计师就一起可以配合在一起，所以不会说你只能在我公司做模特，在别的公司请你去做的话，我可以帮你经营管理。所以不是光是只是 agency is a management too， 就是所谓的注重他们的经营管理，这点有很大的区别。So lots of agency I know when you sign exclusive, so if you don't have the contract, you cannot work with the other like designer. Some designer only use a certain agency, right? Did you ever run into a problem? I'm a designer. I hire you or another agency. All of a sudden, the other agency say, "Well, I cannot do that. I have to exclusively with my agency. The other agency cannot be there." So and they have to call to say I have to cancel you because the other agency, well, demanding he's the only one. Do you ever run? Then what do you do with that? Do you tell them? What do you say?
I mean, I'll say this: in the past, that has happened here in Houston. But I think what the lesson learned for anybody that's done that is that it only hinders them, right? It only puts them back. Why? Because they're closing their realm of opportunities for whatever show or whatever it is that they're doing, right? It goes back to the business ethics. If you're doing business the right way and you're developing your talent the right way, none of that is going to be in question, because everyone should be, right, as the big corporations do, kind of respecting each other, so that way they can work in tandem. And it's always better to work together, to, you know, knowing what the parameters are,
I understand
as opposed to fighting.
So 我是说，假如有个服装设计本来请2个模特儿公司，因为需要模特儿的要求，所以一起，但是有个模特儿公司说，我只能请用我的公司，就不能有另外一个公司。要这种事情有没有发生过？他说，他就遇到过这种事情了。对他来讲的话，是一个不是很好的做法，因为你假如虽然你独霸了市场，但对长间下去的话，并不是很好的事业做法的方法。他喜欢跟大家一起合作，所以他不会说有了这一个公司就不要别的公司跟他一起合作了，好像就会有限制。他主要是希望大家这个发展是一起发展，也不会好像只控制。Well, some people like to be more so-called exclusive marketing. You know, but today, especially like Houston, the market is so vast. You know, maybe the kind of model you have, I'm a designer, I wanted something different, and you don't have it. I have to look somewhere else.
Exactly, and that's okay. And that's the beauty of having a free market.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? That's the beauty. And that's why I always tell everyone, you know, there's different types of modeling. You know, there's different types
let's talk
of
about what's a different type of model. You have a regular runway model.
Runway, you have commercial, you have print, you have beauty.
Let me slow down. OK, 他说普通的话，你有走秀的 ，OK， 然后就说做广告的commercial and what else?
Print,
OK， 就是摄影方面，就是说杂志这一方面的 ，OK。
Then you have beauty.
就是说美容这一方面
And then there are certain specialized. So the specialized is going to be like, let's say, petite, or if they're looking for plus size.
Right， 它有其中有特别的分别种类，好像你就是说身材特别娇小的，或者身材比较高大的。
So those are the types of different models. What I was actually referring to is that within that realm, there's even outside of that different types of modeling. So for example, I'll say, you know, let's say what they call Vixen Modeling, which is, I don't have any, a lot of people, they're like, do you have some, I have nothing against that. It's just that that's not.
What's a Vixen model?
So it's more, if you want to call it more risque, more
edgy.
A little bit edgy, a little bit more seductive, which is fine. It's just not, that's not what we focus on, right? But you know, there are other agencies that will cater to that, right? And that's okay.
他有的服装模特儿公司的模特儿这种他们的照相片比较特别，比较 edgy， 就是比较抛出，就是说比较有点社会道德有点挑战性的 ，yeah， 所以衣服或者穿的比较少这一方面的东西，他说他的公司比较保守，这一方面的话比较少，他的比较大众化 ，yeah，and so if you have a model come to say, well, the some agency want to hire me to do something like that, and is that going to be okay with you?
Well, that's something that we discussed at the beginning, very beginning, what the things that we do or we don't do, right? And that's discussed from the beginning. If that's what they're looking for, then obviously that's not going to be something that we're going to be able to help them on, and they're more than happy to go ahead and go someplace else. But you know, like I said, it's what it is that they're looking for in the end, right? Finding out what it is that their goals are.
所以一开始的话，跟他模特儿公司他就跟你讲得很清楚。哪一方面的服装设计师，哪一方的你的模特的事业是往哪一方面去走的？假如跟你的想法不太一样，或者是你改变方针的话，他会跟你坐下来，好像仔细谈一下这个模特公司适不适合你，或者你要换另外一家公司。So most of the show we do in Houston. What other place? I know you go to New York Fashion Week. And what's that like? You provide a model for the designer. How does that for you? How the model works? Say, okay, I'm gonna be an agency. I go to New York Fashion Week. So who I going to work for Gucci? Or I going to working for Donald Carey?
Okay, yeah. So that is, I mean, that's the goal, right? But there's steps and that they actually have to follow in order to do that. So we get them into the bigger productions. We get them into productions there in New York Fashion Week to be able to work with all kinds of designers, and all of that is part of the preparation, right? So that way, once they get to that Donna Karan, you know, or they get to that Christian Siriano or whoever that may be, that they're ready for that. Because what they find is a lot of times when they hear New York Fashion Week, they think, oh, it's just glitz and glamour. And you and I know that's not how it is, right? But it's preparing them for that, right?
他说很多就准备就 New York Fashion Week 是准备工作，让他们是不是说你要跟哪一个服装设计师去走秀，有很多其他的准备工作要去做。因为到纽约的话，在 Fashion Week 可能模特儿很多，到时候的话，就选择权往往不一定是在这模特儿公司，也不在模特儿，而在这服装设计师的身上。Yeah, so when you have a connection with big designer, name designer, and when they select a model. So do they go to a model pool? What is the process like?
So that's where, that's why it's so important for us to be able to partner with the different agencies that we do. So then at that point,
that makes sense. Yes.
Once they get there, then they go to the casting calls.
Yes.
Then they go to all the calls that they need to go to for those different shows. And that's why the preparation, the development for all of that is very, very important.
他说因为他的模特公司虽然比较小，但是纽约做服装秀的话 ，New York Fashion Week 用很多模特儿，所以这个时候你就知道很重要性。一个模特儿公司跟其他模特儿公司有很好的关系，所以你的 model 跟他们大公司的 model 大家一起配合进入这个选择 model 的这种时段，所以很多的 model 同时集中在一起，来自不同的 agency、不同的 management company， 所以那个时候他那个就是说服装设计师会派人来选 model， 那个时候。你的模特儿就有机会可以参加非常高阶、非常有名气的模特儿公司的走秀，所以不是说你的公司的大小，而是跟这个服装界的关系是非常的重要。So relationships are very important working with those other agencies.
Yes.
Okay,
very much
so we'll be right back. I want to talk more about the relationship between designer and your agency, management, and the models.
Yes.
People say, how long I can be a model? 1 year, 10 years. So we'll be right back. 我们下就回来再多谈一点 ，OK？ 不要走开。哒哒。
EDGE is about community, synergy, and empowerment.
The responsibility be on this? Should we have had a national plan, or should
that the government needs to get out of the way and let people figure it out?
What do you do for your face? So I do have a skincare line called Infinity Skincare.
And welcome back to How You Living on Edge Radio Live. So to Jennifer, I'm just saying live and I'm out.
Peace. Can't say we not working, okay?
You cannot say we not working.
Say that we are.
No, they're just ready to get back out there and start sexing up other people.
Yeah.
That we weren't interested in any silver medals. If they wanted to give us the gold medal that we earned.
各位亲爱的观众，我是富卡，今天又到了我们
It's a hotel kind of vibe.
Well, I mean, I'm
we're
sure he's like,
turning
I
down
don't
to
want to
say,
hear
here's
you
the dinner,
complaining
man.
about the cheap
Sensation cocktail. This is our first mixed cocktail. We have
Three.
very good margarita.
Folks, as always, this is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, right? So to the Edge Radio Network, we are going to be bringing you continuous, interesting conversations, interesting encounters, interesting experiences, education, knowledge, and a lot of laughs and a lot of fun, folks. So you don't want to miss it. So
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Okay. Hello, welcome back. We are talking something very exciting. Fashion. More models. Beauty. OK, 我们讲了很多模特儿的事业跟服装设计，大家最喜欢听的东西。现在我和 Ava 再跟我解释，多讲一下他们 Revolution Management 中间这个很重要的做模特儿的过程。So we'll talk about in New York. We'll go to New York, join the big fashion week. So your agency work with other agency, have a relationship. So all the models go to so-called a model pool, and the designer send people out looking for the model. I was actually during the break, I say some model signed with New York, live in New York. During the fashion week, it's a part of the selection, but it sometimes doesn't quite get the job. People from outside, you live in Houston, you maybe end up working for Gucci. So depend. And so it's not always you have to go to New York, LA to be a model. You can be locally and go to the international event like
Correct.
that, right?
Yes, very much so. So this is why, number one, and we were talking about this off camera as well. People have to remember that at the end, everything is relationship driven. When I say that, it's the communications that we have with one another. It's the being able to dialogue. It's the being able to come to an understanding and go to that next level, whether it's on a personal side or whether it's on a professional business side, right? So the talent, as long as they go into that understanding that, number one, it is relationship driven. Number one, they have to make sure that they're on top of their game. And when I say on top of their game, making sure that the basic things that they need to do, making sure that they're punctual, making sure that they show up on time, that they have good energy, that when they go out there and they execute. All of that is important. But the next part of that is also, how do you sell yourself to everyone else, right?
Let me explain to the 他是刚刚是说的话，做一个模特的话，最重要的还是就是人际关系非常的重要。也除了把你自己照顾好，对人与人之间的生活上面的就是说沟通啊，也非常的重要。一个人的 personality 对外面讲有很大的效果。一个好的 personality 的话，会走很多的方便，因为人家看你这个人的气质啊，跟你的对人的态度的话，往往的话是成功的条件，不一定光是只是说你长得很漂亮，或者是你的身材很好，这是条件之一，但是不是全部所有他们所需求，他们需要人际关系非常重要。因为在模特儿这一行的话，跟人与人之间接触非常的紧凑，很忙，有的时候的话要有很好的耐性，只要你没有耐性或者有很好的这种人生关系的话，往往的话就很困难，对你也很困难，对他们这些服装设计师也很难跟你合作。So that's great to know. So during the fashion show, they're very, very busy. Did you go to the back helping them, or you have someone else? Because you are in the management, you don't go to the back, right?
I don't necessarily, but I have done it in the past. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes my personality is I like to be able to see. I don't want to just hear. And if that means sometimes, and it has happened, that I have to roll up my sleeves to make sure that everything runs the way that it is, then I'll do that. So be it.
Yeah, because I know some designers don't want anybody outside except his people.
Exactly.
Because they're crazy.
Exactly. And they want to be able to have it executed the way that they want it.
Right, your control.
Exactly.
我就问他有的时候会在那个幕台后面帮忙，他说他会的。然后有的服装设计师非常的严格，不要任何外面的人进去在里面就是说帮忙啊什么都不需要。所以这一方面的话他也了解，但是他多半喜欢照顾他自己的模特儿，因为顾自己的人当然自己照顾啊，而且重要也非常的重要，做一个很好的关系跟这个设计师。So you did the New York Fashion, you also went to LA and Paris. What's the difference between American and France?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, for anybody that hasn't gone to Paris, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I went years ago when I was a kid, because I'm a military brat, and I went there back then. It was beautiful, had a different experience, but going back again, just taking a look at it, it's a different lifestyle.
Okay.
You have to understand that it's a completely different lifestyle from what it is that we live here. Here in America, a lot of times, when I sit and talk to the people that are there, they'll say, why are you Americans so crazy? And what they mean crazy, it's not because I'll clarify. People, what? No. What they're referring to is that we're always so stressed. we're always so stressed, and they're like, why are you so stressed? You know, because their lifestyle is very different. You know, they work hard, but when it's time to rest, they give the time to be able to rest, so that way you have that time to be able to kind of debrief.
我在问他，在洛杉矶的服装、纽约服装设计，的服装的发行位跟巴黎有什么不一样？他说在欧洲的话，像法国人有时候觉得好像我们美国人好像怎么每天就这么混乱，这么 crazy。事实上，并不是说我们是好像人是真正疯狂，就是说为什么美国人的生活这么紧张呀？因为他们欧洲人上班也非常的规则，但是下了班之后大家都很放松。为什么美国人下了班好像也是非常非常的紧张？所以不能了解。所以这个每个人的生活的方法有点不太一样。So, well, I think one of the things is American have so much pressure, right?
Yes, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, obviously, you know, God bless America. I say that all the time. We're very blessed to have and be where it is that we are, to have the freedoms that we have as well, right? Now, at the same time, that brings a lot of things that we kind of bring upon ourselves, right? Working these crazy hours of 80 and 90, you know, for whatever reason. And for some people, if that works for them, that's great. But if you think about it, you know, what does that do to you in the long term, right? And that's why you see all of us kind of stressed out all the time.
因为他说在欧洲的话，他们的生活习惯跟我们不一样。美国人有时候一个礼拜上80个钟头、90个钟头的工，上班真是非常的忙碌，所以往往的话，就生活上就会受到很大的压力。压力的话，当然就很紧张了，生活就没有那么悠闲或者自然，或者是有很多时间空下来。So when you did New York, Paris Fashion Week, so they are not crazy like New York Fashion Week. They're a little more laid back, you think?
No, they're
busy, of course.
They're busy. They're busy, and they're definitely on task. They do have, in terms of the fashion shows, just like they're all the same in that aspect of there's a lot going on in backstage that things can happen. But in general, it's not the absolute stress out that we have here as a whole.
I see.
But you know, when you go there, you see just the way that things are made. You know, that things are very done to the T.
Okay.
And you know, everything comes together just beautifully. It's a whole different experience. I always say, if you ever have the chance to go. You know, the only way to be able to learn a different culture is to be in it, right? And you expand your horizons.
大家有机会的话到欧洲去欧洲的生活，他说那里做的事情跟这里做的一样，所以有的时候更好，也很仔细，但就是他们的压力的话在有些方面比我们轻松，所以的话往往的时间比较多，所以大家就比较自然的。他们做秀的时候当然还是很忙啦，但就是说在感觉上面的话就没有在这里好像这么紧张跟这么压力，有的时候好，有的时候压力太大，也往往的话会发生很多的错误。So in Paris, there's a big fashion week. So if your model go there, they don't speak in any French.
They don't, but they
okay?
have. That's okay. They will go ahead and a lot of them, if not all, do speak English, or they have somebody that does speak English.
I see.
But what I always tell everyone, and this I learned from being in the military, being a military brat, don't be the ugly American that just expects, you know, people to speak your language. Do your bit, you know, do some research, and what it is that you can, try to show that you're trying to also be part of their culture.
他说假如你到法国巴黎做秀的时候，你不会讲法文是没有关系的，他也会有人帮你好像翻译，这只是小意思，但是最重要说不要像标准的美国人好像什么都不知道，有时候的话对他们的风俗这个人情都不知道，往往的话让人家很生气，好像你到我的国家就不尊重我们国家的生活习惯，或者是这些对人这方面的这种基本的礼节，自己还是要学习一下。Yeah, so okay, we're going to come back, talk a little more, and that's it. Okay. Oh, well, our show is almost finished. So thank you very much for coming to our show and talking with us.
Okay.
And everybody, don't forget, and go visit the website, Revolution on Facebook. And we will have been following up. And next week, some other subject. But you ever want to talk about model and fashion, please talk to Ava and contact him. Our show is Edge Radio Network on Facebook and Asian Global Now. So thank you for watching. 下次大家见面再多谈一点 ，OK？ 不要忘记看我们的节目，我们最好有按赞、订阅跟转发。OK, thank you for coming to the show.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Yes. go by so fast.
Yes.